Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to talk about the best new product, I think at least, that is coming along with the Pokémon Go expansion. You see, we talked about almost everything in the previous video. We did not actually talk about everything. It seems we didn't talk about the Radiant Eevee collection, but that's alright, because this one is the best. And this one deserves a bit more time and a bit more love. What we've got here is the Pokemon TCG Pokemon Go Premium Collection Radiant Eevee. And for what it's worth, this is currently up for pre-order, or at least it was when I recorded this, over on the Pokemon Center in the UK and presumably in the US and Canada as well. It's not going to only be available there, but it is something to get onto sooner rather than later. Here's what we're told. With their unique coloration, shiny Pokemon are usually tough to find, but the adorable Radiant Eevee is eager to join your team in this collection filled with tons of treasures. In addition to a playable foil card featuring Radiant Eevee, you also get a glossy enamel pin and a playmat that shows off beautiful artwork of this rare Pokemon. Then find even more awesome Pokemon and trainer cards in a stack of Pokemon Go booster packs. And what you get is your promo card, more on that in a moment, your pin, more on that in a moment, your playmat, more on that in a moment, 8 packs of Pokemon Go, each featuring 10 cards and either a basic energy or a V-Star marker, and a code card for Pokemon TCG Live. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, lots to get pretty gosh darned excited about. This one looks really, really cool, and yes, I did get my pre-order in. Don't worry, I hope you guys did as well. So, we'll talk about the other stuff that comes with this because it really is an extremely cool looking set. But I think it's fair to say we need to actually go and we need to start off with this Radiant Eevee. Because it's not just that it's a new Radiant Pokemon, and don't get me wrong, right? New Radiant Pokemon, that alone is pretty exciting. That alone has got me rushing to my computer to make a video and getting all hyped. What's especially important here is this is really, really, really good. Now, do remember, Radiant Pokemon are limited to one in your deck. So, it's not one Eevee, but then you can play a Greninja as well. It is one of any type in your deck. So, if you're playing Eevee, and I think some people are going to want to, I really do think it's great, then you're not also going to be able to play Greninja. And as we've talked about before, Greninja with that ability lets you discard an energy card from your hand and draw 2 cards. It's really, really good. But so is this. Now, 90 HP is extremely relevant because that means you do get your level ball, which is awesome. Means it's very easily searched out. And bearing in mind when we hit the rotation, we're going to be losing stuff like Quick Ball, so being able to be searched with Level Ball is very important. Yeah, you're weak to fighting and that's not ideal, but you got 90 HP, get over it. And yeah, free energy, 50 damage is hot garbage. However, we've got the wonderfully named Twinkle Gathering. Search your deck for a number of cards up to the number of different types of Pokemon you have in play and put them into your hand. To put that into perspective, what that basically means is, if you can get 5 different types of Pokemon on your bench, other than colourless, of course, because that's Radiant Eevee, you can search your deck for 6 cards and put them into your hand. 6! That's nuts, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely, flat out, over the top, nuts. Now, we can look at something like Metagross. Metagross GX is what I thought of here. And Metagross GX was a very good card that had the GX attack, Algorithm GX. And that let you search for 5 cards and put them into your hand, and that was your once per game GX attack on a Stage 2 Pokemon. This can be used every turn, potentially, on a basic. That's a huge difference, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely huge. I am absolutely over the moon with this particular Eevee. This one looks amazing. And sure, the attack is terrible. Nobody's arguing with that. Nobody, I don't think at least, nobody's actually going to be out here being like, oh, mate, that Eevee, what an attack. Doesn't have a good attack. Well, at least a damaging attack. But this first attack is so good. Like so, proper job, over the top, good. Now thematically, this is obviously kind of cool, because Eevee is the evolution Pokemon, so you've got all of your different types of evolutions, and this is clearly kind of feeding into that. You're supposed to have lots of different types of evolutions chilling on the bench, and then you go and search for a whole bunch of cards, but the reality is that this could work in like any deck. One of the decks we saw do surprisingly well at the European International Championships was Sylveon VMAX. And Sylveon VMAX is another one of those that really wants to have kind of a rainbow deck, because you deal a base of 70 damage, but then you deal 30 more for each different type of Pokemon on your bench. So if you can get a whole different, bunch of types of Pokemon on your bench, then that is going to get way better very, very quickly. And something like this is going to be amazing. And the thing is, and I know I've kind of said this, but it doesn't even have to be 6, right? Let's say it's only 4. Let's say at the beginning of the game, you can search your deck for any 4 cards and put them into your hand. That's ridiculous. Like, the idea that you can actually start the game searching 4 cards from your deck is nutty. And again, 4 cards isn't the maximum here. It is possible that you can get 6. And at that stage, one of 2 things is going to happen, yeah? Either you're going to have, like, the best setup anyone has ever had in any game of Pokemon ever, or your opponent's going to disrupt your hand. And let's make no mistake about this, your opponent is going to go after your hand. They have to. The thing is, when we hit the rotation, which won't be long after this is legal, we're losing Marnie. And at the moment, Marnie is actually seeing an awful lot less play. We were seeing decks at the EUIC that were teching in 1 Marnie, and that was a big deal. There was a time not very long ago where, like, every deck would play 3 or 4 Marnie. Those days are in the past. As it stands at the moment, Marnie is not a staple in every deck. And when it is played in decks, it's sometimes played as a 3 or 4 of, but not all the time. And when we hit rotation, we're still going to have Judge. Both players shuffle a hand into their deck and draw 4 cards. But Judge is not going to be a staple in every deck. And even if your opponent plays Judge, they're forcing you to have a new hand, and they're going to have a new hand of 4. Interestingly enough, when you start your turn, you'll actually have a hand of 5, which is slightly better. And the point here is that you're basically saying to your opponent, look, one of 2 things is happening here, mate. Either you are giving me a new hand and playing a supporter card that you really don't want to, or I'm going to have the best turn ever. Everybody knows that after Metagross used Algorithm, you had to play a hand disruption card or things were going to go very, very wrong. That's the case here. You can get all your evolutions, you can get a supporter for next turn, you can get your special energy. I could keep going, but you get the point here. This is legit. Absolutely legit. Although, while we're talking Radiant Pokemon, there was a very interesting update that we got along those lines, and that is that we have had it confirmed that there will be Radiant Pokemon in Pokemon Go of the Gen 1 starters, those being Blastoise, Charizard, and Venusaur. And what's really important here is that we've already had Radiant Greninja. Because some of you may well have noticed this. I told you, and I felt pretty confident, incidentally, that we were going to be getting one of each type of Radiant Pokemon. Every type was going to have 1 Radiant Pokemon. Because that's what they did back with Amazing Rares. In Water with Amazing Rares, you got Kyogre, and that was it. It was the only one you got. You got Kyogre Amazing Rare, and that was your lot. Simple as that. Well, that's no longer the case here. With Radiant Blastoise confirmed and Radiant Greninja revealed, that's going to be 2 Water. So, are they here to stay for longer? Are we going to have multiple different types? Or are we going to have literally 1 of every type? But then you've got the Gen 1 starters, which are an exception. Is Eevee also an exception? Are all the ones in Pokemon Go an exception? Are we going to have 2 for every type? Is it going to be a free-for-all? The answer is, I don't really know, and unless you work for the Pokemon Company, I'm going to be honest with you, you probably don't either, and I don't mean that as an insult. Now, the other cool stuff we get in this particular box is you get the playmat and the pin. The pin is fine. It is worth pointing out, that is a shiny Eevee that you get in the pin. The pin is very much a shiny Eevee, not a regular Eevee, which you would kind of expect. Radiant Eevee is a shiny Eevee, so why would they give you a regular Eevee pin? That wouldn't make a huge amount of sense. And then you've got the playmat, and the playmat is beautiful. Now, if, like me, you're kind of obsessed with Pokemon, you'll probably have like 50 different playmats, so it's very much a thing of personal choice. I can't tell you whether you want this playmat or not. What I'm telling you is, look, you've seen how great Radiant Eevee is, both in terms of the beautiful artwork and in terms of how great it is as a card. So, a lot of you, probably like me, are going to end up with this playmat anyway, and at that point you can go and make your decision as to whether you want to play it. This is a box that looks awesome. It's retailing for 50 quid over in the UK. Obviously not ideal, but it's, certainly not the end of the world. But 50 quid for 8 booster packs, that is kind of expensive. But then you give me a playmat and the promo and the pin. Honestly, I'm just hyped about this promo. This promo looks awesome. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.